Hi, welcome back. This is section 3 of Programming with ECMAScript 2015. In this section, we're going to be looking at working with collections. In this section, some of the things that we'll go through are the new faroff loop. It's a new looping construct that's been provided in ECMAScript 2015. And we'll take a look at some of the new things that are available in the arrays. These are the array features. Then we're going to look at different things called as maps and sets, which is available in ECMAScript 2015. Then we take a look at type arrays. These are some of the new things that are available as part of arrays. Then we look at iterable and iterators. So what are these? These are some of the new ways of traversing the data. And finally, we end this section by taking a look at generator, the functions that can yield. In this first video, under this section, working with collection, we will be looking at faroff loop. This is a brand new looping construct that's available in ECMAScript 2015. So in this video, we'll cover the overview of faroff loop, the syntax of the faroff loop, then how do you use this particular new looping construct. And then finally, we end this video by looking at what is the difference between faroff and then farin loop. So we currently have farin loop construct in JavaScript. Let's take a look at the faroff loop overview. Basically, the faroff loop is a new looping construct introduced in ECMAScript 2015. It allows you to loop over iterable objects. So that's the key here, iterable objects. So we will take a look at one of the modules in upcoming videos exclusively on iterable objects. But for now, think of iterable objects such as array, string, and map sets, typed array. We will take a look at these. And arguments, the function arguments is also an iterable object. So this is a quick overview of what exactly the faroff loop stands for. Let's quickly take a look at the syntax for the faroff loop. As you can see here, it is pretty similar to farin, but instead of in, we are using the of keyword here. So it's for a variable of an iterable object and then whatever statement you want to do. So here the variable is nothing but on each iteration, a different property from the iterable object will be assigned to this variable. And of course, the iterable object is nothing but an object which contains the enumerated properties. Next up, we're going to take a look at series of live coding where we see the faroff loop in action. First up, let's see how to iterate over an array. So I'm going to create an array called as iterable, let's say an array, and then I'm going to say 10, 20, 30, a simple array. So now in order to use faroff, the syntax is very simple. So you can say for, then you can say let value of iterable array. So iterable array is our object, right? So we're going to iterate over that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a console.log of value, and we can use the templated strings here. Let's put ECMAScript 2015 into use. So I'm going to say value colon, and then remember we used to do like this. And that's it. So let's try to run this and then see what happens. And there we go. Value colon 10, value colon 20, value colon 30. So what I did was I'm looping through the iterable array because it is an array. It supports iterators. So I'm just looping through using the construct faroff. So value of iterable array. Each iteration, the value object gets the new property. So this is a quick example of how to iterate over an array. Now let's see how to iterate over a string using the faroff loop. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable. Let's say let iter string. I'm going to call it as iter string is equal to, I'm going to put my name. So I'm going to say Lohit. So then I'm going to say for let character. So there's a character in the string of iter string. And then I'm going to just spit out that to the console. So I'll say console.log. Let's say I'm going to use again a templated string. I will say character, and then I will do dollar bracket open, then character bracket close. And then let's try to run this now. And let me run this. And there we go, character Lohith. So this is another example where you can use the faroff loop for iterating over a string. Now let's take a look at how to iterate over function arguments. So what I'm going to do is I'll create an immediately invoked function expression, or as we call it as IFI. So basically you start like this. So you say function, and then you have the function definition, and then you will immediately invoke that. So I'm going to pass 10, 20, 30 as the argument. So now what I will do is I'm going to say for let arg of arguments, and then I'm going to just do a console.log of this particular variable called as arg. So I will say arg is equal to dollar bracket open, and then I will say arg. Now let's run this and then see what happens. As you can see here, now it says arg10, arg20, arg30. So that means even the arguments object is an iterable object, and then you can use faroff on this particular arguments object and then iterate over the contents. And then as you can see, I just output the different arguments that were passed to this function. Now let's take a look at one of the important points to remember. So the difference between farin and faroff. So farin as a loop construct was always there in the JavaScript. So faroff is the new one introduced in ECMAScript 2015. So what exactly are the differences, right? So farin iterates over all enumerable property of an object. So that means if you create a JavaScript object, okay, you will be able to loop through the different properties using the farin. Whereas the faroff works only on collection. That's the major difference. It does not work on your regular object, but it has to be a collection. And then it doesn't work on the regular object, as I said. Next up, we're going to take a look at a small live code snippet where we see this difference between farin and then faroff. In order to demonstrate the difference between farin and faroff, what we're going to do is I will extend the JavaScript object that we have to introduce a custom function, and also I'll extend the array object include a custom function, my custom function. So basically you extend it by saying object.prototype, and then here is where I'm going to say my obj func. So this is a custom function that I've added to the object, and I will say function and semicolon. Similarly, I will extend the array object that we have. So I will say prototype dot my array func, and then I will say function, and then this will be an empty function again. Next, what I'm going to do is I'll create an array. So let's say iterable obj is equal to 10, 20, 30. Then I will also introduce a additional property on the iterable object. Let's say bar is equal to, I'll say bars, and then what we do is first we take a look at the farin. So let's say for let prop in iterable object, and here I'm going to just do a console.log, or we will use the templated string to say prop colon dollar brackets, and then I'll say prop. So I'm going to add a semicolon here and here. Now all I'm going to do is just run this, and what you will see is it says prop 0, prop 1, prop 2, and then prop bar, which are part of the iterable object. That's correct. But you also see it is giving me the my array func and then my object func. So that's the hierarchy. So it first looked at the array extension, or there is a function, and then it spit that out, and then it looks at the parent, which is the object. There is a custom function, it spits that out. What you're able to see here is the farin treats your object as an enumerable, so it is enumerating through your properties. Now I'm going to copy the same code, and instead of farin, we will say for let prop of iterable object, and we will say prop, and then we'll spit out the same properties again. So let me clear the console and then I'll run this. Now what you're seeing here is from here to here, that is 0, 1, 2 bar, my array func, my object func, that's the farin loop. Whereas the prop 10, 20, 30, well, that's the faroff loop that's giving you. So as you can see here, the faroff works only on the collection, and it treats iterable object as a collection because it is an array. Array is a collection, and it does not look at any other properties that are there on the iterable object. So this is the difference between farin and faroff. We looked at the new looping construct faroff. We looked at its syntax. We also saw the usage of faroff loop, and then we understood what is the difference between farin and then faroff.